Hi folks, welcome back again. This is Model 3 Man Channel. I'm Peter Levy, and it's Monday, I think, episode number 45 of our Tip of the Day series. We're looking at a tip that'll help you to protect your car's underbelly a little better. We have the rocker panels on the side of the car, on the underside of the car, and then we have the rear fender. And all of these are subjected to a barrage of stones and salt that get thrown up by the wheels and hits our beautiful paintwork, or throws stones behind us, but that normally happens more with big trucks rather than cars. Nevertheless, mud flaps are a very familiar solution to the problem. The problem with installing mud flaps is difficulty and complexity that goes into installing them properly and making sure they're secure and they fit properly. The biggest concern a lot of people have is that it ruins the appearance, or we think it does. Does my car look any less sexy when I put these black mud flaps on? Does it really give any protection? Is it actually worth doing? Well, I was sent these, so disclaimer, I didn't buy them myself. However, they came from a company called Forasla, and I've always been impressed by the rubber mats. You remember I did a review, and I loved them. I still do. They really do stop the mud and the snow and the slush from getting onto the carpet. If a company makes one product well, there's a kind of an unwritten assumption that they're going to make another product well. Jetta is a good example. That Jetta USB hub is phenomenal. So I was prepared to give these guys a chance. The thing that appealed to me was the part that said, "No drill, easy to install." No drill, easy to install. I like that. Let's put this out the way. This video here details the steps involved in putting these mud flaps on. What I'm going to do is take you through the contents of the package first of all. Then I'm going to take you through an outdoor installation. Then I'll do a walk around the car and show you what the flaps look like once they're installed. Long term, I'll report back to you on whether all kinds of garbage that gets thrown up by the wheels, I'll see if that diminishes and whether I have to clean the underside any less than I am right now. So come with me as we go and install these units, and we'll be back in the studio once that's over and I can give you a summary. See, I've got the left front wheel turned out hard left. It's because we're going to wash and then install on the wheel well, the lower rear edge of the wheel well, of that front left tire first. By turning the wheel out, you get better access to the wheel well. I'm going to just outline the steps very quickly. The first is to wash and thoroughly clean. Second, dry the area that you're going to be attaching the mud flap to. And number 3, apply the adhesive tape, press well. Number 4, remove the pop rivets so that we can get the mud flap in position. And then number 5, press hard and push back in the rivets to hold the mud flap in place. So what we're going to do here is to follow the written instructions to the T. So we're just going to start off by wetting the area thoroughly. Obviously the area that we're going to attach to is down there, not all the way up around there. So of course you can wash everything if you feel like it. Just wet it down thoroughly. Next, what I'm going to do is go in there, just rub with a cloth, loosen any of the stuff that's in the attachment area. Take your time with this, because what you want to do is make sure you're actually cleaning it well enough for the double-sided tape to properly adhere. So step number 2, we want to give it a thorough drying. While I'm letting that air dry, I'm going to go to the rear wheels and just wash them as well. You don't want to see that twice, 3 times, 4 times. So at this point here, we're going to loosen these little studs. So we pull the inside out, and then the whole thing just pops out. Do the same to the other one. And it goes under the car, and we've got it. So once we've removed the 2 rivets there, we're able to get the mud flap, position it, so we can see where we need to apply the double-sided tape and how we need to fix it. So let's get that mud flap out. One thing that didn't help was that the right flap was in the left flap bag and the left was in the right flap bag. That's it there. So you can see how it fits up against the arch of the body. And what we have to do here is get that double-sided tape ready. We do have to cut it to size. It's on a single roll. We cut it, stick it on, and then we will attach that. So what is also useful to know that it doesn't tell you in the instructions is that at the top here, there's a little clip. It's there. And that allows it to grip onto the edge of the beading here. So we would put it in place, push that firmly, and it clips into place. So we would need the adhesive tape, of course, to be down here and on the inside of that. Now, the instructions are not very clear on whether to apply the tape to the inside of the mud flaps or onto the body first. I'm trying it this way because I'm going to peel off the top, and as I attach it down there, I'll then be able to push it firmly into place. I don't think it matters, it's just whichever is more convenient. But do coat the surfaces with the adhesive promoters that are in the sealed bags first of all. You can see that what I'm going to do here is to put these little clips back in, but before I do that I'm just going to peel the edge of the double-sided tape. And you can see we finally got it, and I'll pull it down there, but I'm going to position it first and then I can just peel this off out of the edge there. So let's get this in position. You notice that I'm pushing it firmly up against the body. There is double-sided 3M adhesive tape behind the plastic against the car body, and that's firmly in place. That's going to need a little bit of a tap with a hammer or something heavy, but that's it. And it's very solidly in place. And the little clip on the top edge of the plastic fits right over the edge of the metal of the wheel well, and it locks solidly into place. So with the front left mud flap installed, it looks like that. And there you can see that both of the clips, the locking clips, are firmly in. The rear installation is quite different. Let's go down there. First of all, we need to go underneath the car to show you that there is a little bolt. And we have to loosen that because that goes through the flap as well. So this is much harder to get to because you cannot turn the wheels in or out, and so we have to get our hand right in there. If we look at the flap itself, you can see that down here, that is where that lower bolt will go through. Actually, we only have one rivet we have to loosen. You can see there's no other provision for anything else, and that's because there's a rivet there and the bolt that goes through there, and of course getting to the other rivet at the very far side is going to be held. We'll pop the one rivet out and then we can get this in position. Of course, I've cleaned the paint surfaces. I'm using the adhesion promoter on the inside as well. So it runs around that far edge, around the curve, and stops just before the place where the bolt will go through. While it is true that they do provide you with a little tiny wrench, you don't want to use that. You really don't. Get a socket wrench, and this, I've tested it, and it's a 10mm socket, much like the ones I was loosening when I did the power trunk install. So a 10mm socket makes your job much easier. Oh, we gotta lie down for this one. That's better. The rest comes out easily. Now we'll clean around there, then we'll get the tape put onto the inside of the flap and I'll begin the install. I do need to remove the one rivet as I did for the front. I'll just remove it here and then I'm ready to put the flap on. Now I'll just position it so you can see. So it fits in like that. That of course will clip in when I push it hard. It'll clip onto the edge of the bodywork. That fits in nicely around the bottom, and at the very bottom of course there's one bolt we'll put through both the flap and the body, and then we have one stud that goes in about there, and once I've done that it's in, and that's all you have to do. And I'll go of course around the front and the back of the other side and repeat it, but we'll not waste time showing you that. I'll show you the final result. So as you can see, the right rear unit has been installed and it really fits very neatly. They've ensured that the mud flap contours match the contours on the body of the car. This one does have a bolt underneath that you have to tighten up, but that's easy. Let me switch around from the front view. There it is there, starts at the top, goes down. It's very firm. It's completely firm. I totally agree with the packaging that says there's no need for drilling or putting in of screws. So that's left front, left back. I'm not going to bother you by making you watch right front and right back, but I'm going to do that right now. Then I'll do a walk around the car. Look at it from the front. You can see that it's a clean, neat fit as well. So is the rear. So the important question, of course, is does the car lose any of its sexiness by attaching the mud flaps? Well, look, you got to be the judge, but in my view, they're fine. They're very functional. They look great. They're actually pretty inconspicuous. You don't really notice them. But hopefully they'll do a good job, and I'll let you know whether it keeps the dirt off the rocker panels and off the rear fender unit. Tell you if that actually makes any kind of difference. What was really nice was that Fahrasler included 8 of the pop rivets. We had to remove 2 of these on the front wheel well, just 1 on the rear. So they gave us full number of replacement clips in case we screwed up the ones that came on the car. I like that. I appreciate when people send me sufficient spare parts to actually do the job. Here are some comments about how the process went. Number 1. Make sure you clean the area well. Scrub it down, wipe it down, and then dry it. It must be completely dry. Number 2, use the adhesive promoter, the little tiny alcohol sachets that come with it, on both the surface of the mud flap and on the surface of the car, the body of the car. Number 3, it's not hard. It's not difficult, but it is awkward. The rear wheels, you can't turn them sideways to get them out of your way. So you do go to a little bit of lying on the ground, looking upwards, normal kind of stuff. That's normal. The install was easy, and the mud flaps sit very, very firm. I was very impressed that when you grab them and you move them, they're solid. So the double-sided tape that they provide gives you more than sufficient length for the area that needs to be covered. I didn't have to use all or really any of these, but it was good that they were there. She even had some leftover double-sided 3M tape. Even gave me a fairly flimsy little spanner, but it would have done the job. But I had a socket wrench, and it's a 10 millimeter bolt, so could have used that, but didn't need to. And I think that would be helpful in getting the little plugs off. I used a trim removal tool, much easier. That's up to you. Final conclusion, it doesn't destroy the sexiness of the car. In fact, they're almost inconspicuous. Honestly, you don't notice them. I looked at the car when I got home, parked it on the road. It didn't really look any different. So I don't think you need to worry about that. And if you wanted to take them off, it's pretty easy to do. You could do it. So I'm interested to see how in the long term it actually protects the underside of the rear fender and the rocker panels on the sides. Interested to see whether there's any less grunge and crap that coats that underside after driving in rain and terrible conditions. You can really only tell the effectiveness over the long term. There was a lot of interest in the upload I made on Saturday, which talked about the secrets of the Model 3 cameras. I've pinned a comment to the top of the comment section. In that, I list every one of the specs of all 8 external cameras, as well as the specs for the internal camera. And so if you're interested in looking up a bit more detail without having to go to the web links, it's there at the top of the comment section, and I'll leave it there for the next few weeks or so. Once again, thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So in the meantime, stay safe. I'll see you then. Thank you.